launched Juniper, we did a lot of education around that on the differences that exist with it. Now the other thing that you can do with that is to just put it in water if you want to, or my preferred method once again would be in a capsule. Now think about celery seed and cinnamon as a good example for the remainder of the urinary tract. This would be a good protocol that you could turn to that would be helpful, would be supporting of those tissues, and help you to overcome maybe some of the challenges as the body does its work in fighting and overcoming those issues. So you can do 1 to 3 drops, again, equal amounts, in a capsule, and take that daily as needed. And over a period of time as that subsides, not something that you need to continue to do. Now let's talk about my favorite part of the digestive system, the intestinal tract. Not your favorite part, I can tell. Now it's okay, the large and the small intestine, we can divide these into 2 categories. The small intestine is primarily about absorption. Our foods get broken down and we absorb it through the small intestine. In the large intestine, this is mainly about elimination. It's not the only thing that happens there, but it's mainly about elimination. Both of these areas have high susceptibility. And in fact, the high susceptibility that we see is an issue that we can't always get an adequate delivery of essential oils into that area. Now remember one of the things that I've said in the past. The value of essential oils is always an issue of concentration and delivery. One of the things that we know about peppermint is that peppermint has been widely studied for these types of issues in the body with tremendous outcomes. How many of you love peppermint? How would you like to have an enteric-coated peppermint capsule? Now, this is a milestone for doTERRA. It's not the first time we've done targeted delivery, but it is the first time we've done specific targeted delivery into the intestinal tract with essential oils. Our reason for doing that is because of what we know clinically about this essential oil. So this now becomes the perfect addition of any time you're experiencing concern over those areas of the body. Turn to this. Do 2 capsules. Now this is a gel cap. It is carrageenan free. We made that commitment to you. We are working through that process. We are cleaning up that process and continuing to move forward. All of our products that we've launched and will launch will be carrageenan free. So this is a perfect addition for you. Use it as directed. You excited? Okay, let's talk about one more difficult system in the body. Let's talk about inflammation. Now, the inflammatory system within the body, we all have it, and we tend to think of it as a bad thing. We all, when we hear the word inflammation, think, oh no, that's bad. That means that I have some type of a condition or some type of a circumstance that is deteriorating or degrading tissues. Well, that may be true if it's uncontrolled, if it's in an unhealthy state within the body. Inflammation actually serves a really powerful purpose for us. It's about protection, and it's about the body's response to infection and injury. And so we need good, healthy, inflammatory responses within the body. Now, we do know, and we do recognize, and I recognize it as well, we've spoke to it many times, that if we look at where we are in healthcare right now, if we look at the types of illnesses that people generally deal with, we know that one of the root causes is inflammation. I do recognize that. But if we can help the body to be able to sustain a normal inflammatory response, then that allows us to do something different, better, and more. And so I want to talk a little bit about turmeric. Remember, we launched this last year. Are you loving turmeric? It is one of my favorite essential oils. It's an oil that I literally use. Emily says she takes all over with yarrow palm. Well, I'm all over with turmeric. I guess that would be the opposite for me. I love turmeric and the benefits that it brings. Now remember, last year we talked about some of those benefits. We talked about that as an essential oil, it has critical components, critical chemistry, the tumerones, the alpha and the beta tumerones. You remember this conversation. And we talked about how it supports so many critical areas of the body. We talked about having and creating a healthy inflammatory response, supporting the body in its normal processes that way. Cardiovascular health, increased antioxidant capacity. And then we did a lot of time, and we even shared with you some research that we did, talking about its neuroprotective qualities, helping the body to function normally and be resilient within that very critical neurological tissue of the central nervous system, which has a lot of susceptibility. Now, last year when I was talking about turmeric, I talked a little bit about turmeric as a botanical, the whole plant. And we talked about curcuminoids. Do you remember that? And we said that the curcuminoids were also indeed very powerful, had their own very specific benefits. For example, they're really helpful for supporting normal, healthy joint tissue and function. A little bit different than what we see with turmeric as an essential oil. We also, though, had a problem with the curcuminoids that we see in turmeric as a botanical. We didn't have the bioavailability. Now, we've solved that for you with the deep blue polyphenol complex, and we solved that for you in alpha CRS. You're taking those daily, right? And so we asked ourselves a question. What would happen if we looked at the whole plant? What would happen if we could take the curcuminoids and if we could take the tumerones from the essential oils and we could blend that together? Well, what happens is we come up with a new product called the Turmeric DuoCap. Now, I cannot tell you how excited I am about this product. This has never been done before. Now, I know you're probably thinking to yourself, this is just an add-on. This is just an add-on from turmeric from last year. They launched Yarrow Palm. Now they've got all this Yarrow Palm stuff. We started this process of development more than 3 years ago for this DuoCap. We had to develop technology. We had to overcome several obstacles, including bioavailability, even pressure within the capsule, for crying out loud. There was a number of different things we had to do. Now, one of the things that I'm privileged to do is I get to work with some amazing people. I mean my partners, of course, but I'm talking about all of the scientists, all of the doctors, everyone I get to work with on a regular basis. I love them. They're incredible. They do amazing things. And I thought it would be great for us today to hear from the scientist who has done a 3-year journey in developing this product. I've known him for several years. I trust him and his great skill set. One of our wonderful scientists in nutritionals and nutraceuticals, will you please help me welcome to the stage Alex DeBell, who is going to explain to you more of the value of this capsule.